So we are expecting more pullbacks, okay, more like a bullish pullback back to the zones of the 92k. Okay, it could go to 92k, or it could go as deep as the 95k. So between the 95k and the 91k levels, which are the zones, okay, we could have price get into those zones before like a buy to sell scenarios. Okay, then we target our first level, which is always 100% retracement level, which is the 80k. Then we can go. Hey peeps, AdmireFX right here. Welcome back to our weekly market forecast. So this is the weekly market forecast for the week of the 1st to the 5th of December. So happy new month, guys. So if you're new to this channel, please do want to subscribe, turn on post notifications, and like, share, and subscribe. So without taking much of your time, let's dive into the business of the day. So we're getting started with BTC. For last week, we have been looking forward for price to give us a buy to sell scenarios, which is what we later had happened on BTC. So looking at BTC, when price from our weekly market forecast from last week, price was somewhere down here, and I think during Sunday, in which we had that video. So we had a very nice bullish projections all the way to the upsides, and we have BTC rising all the way to the back to the 92 zones, between the 92 zones and the 90 zones. All right, so just like we anticipated, we wanted a buy to sell scenario. So price is currently on our phase zones of the 90 zones, which we're looking for sales or price to get to the 95 zones before we can have more bearish continuation. So from the look of things, price would most likely react on either of these zones, either the 92 zones to the downside or the 95 zones to the downside. Like, it's very important that since this is actually a new month, we have to see how the previous month actually closed. Okay, but in the case of BTC, the monthly candle is yet to close, because as at the time in which I'm making this video, which is on Sunday, so price is yet to close on the monthly time frame. Okay, other price has most likely closed on that candle. So we can see we had a very nice bearish engulfing candle on BTC for the monthly time frame. So what does this mean? Does this mean that we are going to have more bearishness to the downside on BTC? So we should most likely buckle our shoes and expect more bearishness on BTC. So on the weekly time frame, we can see price closed last week with this bullish candle. Okay, although it's not an engulfing candle, more like a tweezer top. So we should most likely have price pulling back to the 100k zones before we could have that bearish continuation. Just like I always say, price actually moves in a form of a wave. Okay, and also following this, most likely, since BTC is bullish, we should also most likely have a bullish gold. Okay, you guys should know that BTC and gold always move towards the same direction. They are actually directly correlated. So these are one of the cheat code in which I also use for my own personal trading. Okay, so what are we looking for BTC for this week? Or what we need to see is price reacting. You can see how this price actually closed for, I think that should be Friday candle, actually closed with that doji candle there, shooting star, whatever you may call it. So this is also a very nice indicator to us that price may most likely sell from that zone. So all what we need to see is a buy to sell scenarios. Okay, should be seeing BTC tank all the way back to the 81 and 80k, and if price does not happen right about there, we should see price go into the 95, between the 95 and 96 zones before we should have that bearish continuation to the downside. So keep your fingers crossed on BTC. You have to be patient. Actually, up next is for gold. For last week, we had some zones in which we were looking for. I think this was the only trade in which we took last week. We had some sells here on last week in which we took just one loss after a very pretty long while in which we took a loss. We had our stops above this previous week and we were selling gold to the downsides. Okay, so this is what it actually looked like, but price did its thing, took us out, and price became bullish thereafter. Okay, so for those of you that took the other side of things for the break retest, continuations. I actually saw this happen, but you know, I wasn't really interested in taking those sales again on gold. Rather, I was looking forward to trade GBP USD and Euro USD. Okay, so for gold has been bullish for the past 2 weeks. So let's check how the monthly time frame actually closed. It is also very important. You see how the monthly time frame closed. So gold for the longest has been super bullish on massive bullish trend. So these are also the reasons why we had some good bullishness on BTC continuing breaking all-time highs on the higher time frames too. Okay, so let's go to our weekly time frame to see how last week actually closed. So here on last week actually closed with this bullish engulfing candle. Very important. So all what we need to do is go to our hourly time frame, which is a 4-hour, to trade off our zones. Okay, so we already have some zones being marked out here. So I'm going to adjust this like so. Okay, I'm going to adjust this like so. So all what we need to see is price to give us a pullback to these zones, okay, and a bullish continuation. So pullback may get to that zone or may stop somewhere here before we could have price continue bullish all the way to the 4378 ounce to the upside. Okay, and we can only claim or be certain that price is ready to sell on gold until price is able to clear these zones. Okay, the zones of between the 4132 ounce and the 4105 ounce. Okay, price has to clear the zones before we could be certain that gold is ready to sell. Okay, so that's it for gold, and up next is the DXY. So for the DXY for last week, DXY has been super bearish. I think we had, this was Monday, price was somewhere around here on Monday. Okay, yeah, price was somewhere around here. So we clearly had a bearish week on the DXY for last week. And those of you that also took the sales, like I always say, it's always important you pay attention to your higher time frame zones. Okay, you can see, looking left, you can see a previous resistance day on the higher time frame, and this is another reoccurring resistance. So price may most likely start selling from there, just like it did. Okay, so moving forward for gold, we have to look at the monthly time frame to see how price for the DXY, to see how price closed. All right, you know, I like reading candlesticks. Okay, candlesticks gives a lot of confirmations and information towards your directional bias of price. And mind you, every new month price most likely likes changing its trend or giving people or traders room to make a new re-entry. Okay, so most likely, if most of those massive moves that you guys observe, if you look at this tip here, you see when these sales happen, mind you, this is the monthly time frame, when this bullishness happened, since then that was a new month, since then price has been super bullish. When this bearishness happened, it took one full month and price was super bearish. Same thing with this, super bearish for a whole month and super bullish for a whole month too. Okay, just so this previous month or this recent month of November, price most likely close with this doji candle. So what do you think is going to happen? This is a very good reason for cause of concern on the DXY. So if you have such confirmations like so on the DXY, this is a very good heads up for us to anticipating a more bearish continuations on the DXY. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark that zone. So what I would love to see price do is close to the bearish engulfing candle like so to the downside. So how can we jump into that bearish engulfing candle on the higher time or on the lower time frames is what I'm going to show you guys. Okay, so for here on the monthly time frame, we should most likely have price give us, price has already reacted off the zones. Okay, then we should have more sales to the downside. So okay, price to react off the 100 point, okay, or the $100 zones, then go all the way to the 94.493 to the downside. Okay, then let's go to the weekly time frame to see zones in which we can anticipate price to moving forward. So also here on the 4-hour time frame, price has a very nice price action. Okay, just like I said last week, we are still very much looking at price action on price here on the 4-hour time frame. You have price moving in the waveform, okay, creating series of highs and lows. Okay, so we still have higher tendencies in which we are looking forward for price to continue bullish. Okay, we can't write off the bullishness on price until price has clearly cleared these zones and these other zones, okay, most especially this first zone. Then for a more conservative entry, you can wait for price to clear the second zone of the $98 or the 98 point zones. Okay, so what do we observe price may likely do on this area? Okay, what do we observe price may likely do? So we can see price sell to this area, pull back to that zone, sell again. So we shouldn't be surprised if we see something like a W chart pattern. Okay, W chart pattern of price going back up, break this previous resistance, retest, and a continuation to the upside. Okay, so what I'm going to give you guys is two-way scenarios. Okay, so I'm going to start with the bullish sides first. Okay, so we could have price pull back into these areas, then we could have bullish continuations back to a 99, let's say 100 zones. Okay, 99 area, which is this 100% retracement level. Then we could also have price break here, retest, and continuation phase zones 98 point. Then we can go as deep as the 98.317 to the downside. Okay, so do well to mark these areas on your phone or your trading device. Up next is EURUSD. So EURUSD for last week, okay, price has been super bullish in a way, but price has not done so much on EURUSD for last week. Okay, but regardless, due to this analysis are done on a weekly basis, you can see between here and here price has been super bullish. Okay, if you look at the lower time frame structure, even here on the higher time frame, you can see clearly creating series of higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So could this be a new higher high? We don't know, okay, until price shows us more added confirmations. Okay, so let's start from the weekly time frame to see how the previous weeks actually closed. Okay, it's very important we see how the previous month rather actually closed. So we can see last month, every candle, mind you, each time frame in which you are, every candle day, no matter how big or small, it actually took a full month for price to react in that form. So we see last week candle with that doji kind of a candle on the monthly time frame. Could this be other signs to showing us that price will continue bullish or bearish? Okay, so let's go back to let's check the weekly time frame to see how price also reacts. The last candle for the weekly time frame, which was last week, super bullish. Okay, let's go to our 4 hour, which is our entry time frame. All right, so here on the 4 hour, if I squeeze the screen like so, you can still see that price is clearly on a very strong zones. Okay, price is clearly on the strong zones. Okay, let's use the daily time frame to make things easier for us. Okay, so here on the daily time frame, we can see price is clearly on a bearish trend, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So price is back to this area of interest. Looking left, you can see how price reacted off the zones multiple times. Okay, and also if you look deeply, you see how price actually closed for the last 2 trading days for last week. Okay, you can see a doji candle first, another doji candle, followed by price. So could this be that price is willing to start selling? I don't like plotting trend lines, but let me see if something could come out on the trend lines too. Okay, looking at the trend lines too, you can see we have some nice touches. Okay, we have some nice touches on the trend line. So would this trend line hold, or would price react from there? Most likely it should, from the confirmations in which we are having on the DXY. Okay, so what is our next level target for EURUSD? Okay, so I'll still keep it at the bearish side of things until price shows us otherwise. Okay, we are still very much bearish because price is yet to clear the 1.168 zones. Okay, so we are still very much on this weekly and daily area of interest. Okay, you can see these zones, price reacted off multiple times, so we could see price react off that trend line again, and then we could have a bearish continuations to 1.147. then we can go as deep as 1.141 to the downside. Okay, so that's it for EURUSD. Up next is GBPUSD. So for GBPUSD, GBPUSD was a very clean bullish. At the end of the day, we saw GBPUSD had a very clean bullish reversals to the upside, or pullback as the case may be, to the upside. So moving forward, let's check how the monthly time frame closed. It's very important that we check the monthly time frame. Nothing much here, we just have something like a doji candle on the monthly time frame. So we check the weekly time frame again. Wow, a very massive bullish engulfing candle on the weekly time frame for price. So we go to the 4-hour time frame. All right, so 4-hour time frame. 4-hour time frame is quite noisy for us, so I'll keep it at the daily time frame, guys. Keep it at the daily time frame. So looking at it here from the daily time frame, we can see price, same thing on Euro USD, lower lows, lower highs, lower low, lower highs, lower low, lower highs, lower low, lower highs. Okay, you can see price reacting off moving average there. So this moving average also matches with these zones, okay, which I'm going to adjust right about now. All right, I'm going to adjust that zone properly right about now. So I'm going to shift this way and extend it. You can see those multiple week rejections down there. All right, so we already have price for the last 2 trading days. Same thing that happened on Euro USD, a doji candle, another doji candle, which signifies reversals. So this is quite more like an easy busy for us. So this is why it's very important that you fund your trading account next week, and we're going to make a lot of money together, because I'm still sending free trade calls on the free Telegram community. So if you're not on that community, click on the link on the description to join. So moving forward, all what you need to see is price to react off the zones of the 1.326. Then we could see our actual bearish continuations to our 1.300 to the downsides. Okay, like I said, we are still very much bearish until price shows us otherwise. Okay, if price clears these zones, that is when I would be interested for the bullishness. But there are still other means in which I can still take my buys from here. Okay, if we go to the lower time frames, there is another minor zone down here that we can trade conservatively from the downsides. Okay, but that we can't spill everything here on YouTube. That is why it's very important to come for, you get our mentorship, and we can teach you these things one-on-one, and you get to understand them properly. All right, so that will be it for this week, guys. Always remember to, if you watch this video to this very moment, please do want to smash that subscribe button, like, share, drop a comment on the comment section. Let us know if you're still trading in the month of December, and let us know how well our trading analysis have helped you so far while you have been trading with us, or also learning with us here on YouTube. Okay, so always remember to plan your trades and trade your plan. See you guys in the inner circle. I'm wishing you a happy new month once again. Cheers.